Hello, Abnormal Investigations family. How's everybody doing today? Got a little bit of an update. From now on, I think most of our updates we're going to do over our family and everything that's going on is going to be done on our other channel, Wide Open Adventures. That is our family channel, and that's where this all affects us as our family. So if you're interested in keeping up with that, that would be a good place to subscribe, would be Wide Open Adventures. We're working on getting the rest of the ducks and everything cleaned up, and we should have them out here pretty soon for everybody that's interested in getting a duck. All the proceeds from that will be going to the channel and to assist in other things, which you all probably already know what we're doing. And I think that's pretty much all I have for you all today. And don't forget, Saturday night at 8:45 p.m. we'll have our boots on the ground. Should be a good one. I got a good encounter for you here today, guys, from Oklahoma, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Let's get into it. This is a different one, guys, and a warning out to animal lovers for this video. My grandma lives in central Oklahoma in an old country home where she's resided alone for about 8 years. Ever since Grandpa passed away, she used to tell us stories about how Grandpa protected her from the little demons. We loved hearing those stories and thought they were just that, stories. But lately, Grandma's become fixated on the idea that these little demons are real and out to get her. I dismissed her concerns, attributing her fears to her age and the old tales she used to share. One morning, I stopped by her house after work, which is on my way. I go past her house every morning, and was met with a shocking sight. Grandma emerged from the side of her house, covered in blood and clutching a whole armfuls of a bunch of dead, shredded chickens. She was dressed in her white morning gown, which was soaked in the blood. I asked her what had happened, and she insisted that the little demons were responsible. I suspected a coyote attack and told her to stay inside until I finished work, promising to check on her later when I got off work. The next morning on my way to work, I was met with a chilling sight as I stopped by to check on her. Blood was splattered all over Grandma's front door. My heart started to race. I frantically beat on the door, fearing the worst. Grandma answered, her eyes red and puffy from crying. And she told me that the demons had taken her dog the night before, torturing it mercilessly. She recounted how she had heard the dog's agonizing cries and screams throughout the night, followed by the sound of its lifeless body being beaten against the front door. I was horrified, unsure of what to make of her terrifying tale. I told Grandma that I would stay with her over the weekend to get to the bottom of things. Honestly, I was starting to wonder if she was losing her grip on reality. The stories of little demons and animal torture seemed a little far-fetched, and I suspected that her age and isolation might be taking a toll on her mental health. But as I looked into her eyes, I saw a deep-seated fear that made me question my own doubts. Maybe, just maybe, there was something more sinister at play. I pushed the thought aside and focused on comforting Grandma, determined to uncover the truth behind her terrifying tales. I worked for a concrete company, and the first night at Grandma's house I was so tired I fell right asleep. At about 3 a.m., I heard something at the window. When I walked to the window, it was open. I just figured she'd forgot to shut the window. I closed the window, and I went back to the couch. While I was laying there, I heard what sounded like little footprints in the kitchen on the tile. Then, all hell broke loose. I ran to the kitchen, and there was cereal all over the floor, and the bread was on the floor and open and spilled everywhere. There was a cereal trail to the window. I ran to the window and looked out and saw nothing. I knew then that something was going on, maybe a neighbor kid, a homeless person, but I knew the next night I would catch him or them. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, telling myself it was just a stray animal or a mischievous kid. But the scene in the kitchen suggested something more bizarre. The cereal trail leading to the window seemed almost deliberate. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, determined to get to the bottom of things. I set my mind on catching the culprit the next night. I would stay up no matter how tired I was, and I would keep watch. Little did I know the events of the next night would change my life forever and the things that I believe in. The next night, I was all ready. I had my 20 gauge and a lot of coffee. I heard the window start to raise. When I snuck and looked, I seen something I wish I had never seen. I was hiding in the shadows, watching the window. A small little creature, no hair, skinny, large teeth, dirty fingernails. It has very large eyes with very large, dark, huge pupils. They were halfway in the window and standing in the sink when they seen me. They turned and ran out the window, knocking over the dirty dishes. I ran to the window and watched them run across the yard and into the field where they jumped down the old water well we used to use. I froze, my heart racing. As I gazed into the creature's unsettling eyes, its gaze seemed to pierce through me, leaving an mark on me that I will always remember. The creature's appearance was like nothing I had ever seen before. Its gaunt, hairless body, long fingers, and massive teeth seemed to belong to a nightmare. As it turned and fled, I felt a surge of adrenaline, and my instincts took over. I rushed to the window, gun still in hand, and watched in awe as the creature vanished into the darkness of the old well. I stood there paralyzed, wondering if what I had really seen, what I thought I had. The coffee in my system seemed to wear off, replaced by a chilling sense of dread. I knew then that Grandma's stories were true. The little demons were real, and they were lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. The neighbor kid down the road, he was about 20 and very lanky. I asked him if I could lower him into the well to see what was down there. Now I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate over this, but I was more wanting to find out what was down there than I was thinking about safety at the time. Now as I look back, I know that probably was not a good idea. Of course, I offered to pay him. I lowered him down and he yelled back up at me. He said there was empty cans of food and cereal everywhere. And then he said there was a tunnel that ran from the side of the well. I hurried and pulled him back up in fear for him. The next day, we had a job that didn't use all the cement, and we brought the access to Grandma's and filled the well in. And I am now making a slab over the whole thing. Everything has now stopped. Does anyone have any idea what these little creatures might be? With the well sealed and the tunnel inaccessible, the strange occurrences have ceased. Grandma's house was finally at peace. The neighbor kid and I never spoke of this incident again, but the memory of those unsettling eyes lingered. I couldn't shake the feeling that we had disturbed something ancient, or something evil. The slab of concrete seems like a fragile barrier over that hole, but I know that there's a ton of it poured down it. Do you believe that our ordeal with these creatures is finally over? It's been almost 6 months and nothing more has happened. I am now finishing the whole slab over it, where there will soon be a basketball court and a place to cook out. What are your all's thoughts? That's a very interesting story. I don't know what those would be. I have heard stories of the little people, and that's what I was thinking. I don't know if they'll be back. I would think that they would have another way out of there. I don't know if it would be close, or maybe they've had to travel away now to be able to get out. But very interesting. I look forward to see what everybody has to say about this, because I would think that they would have other ways in and out of the well. So I don't know if they'll be back. They may be trying to tunnel out. It might take them a while. I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but I would keep my eyes open. I don't know if playing basketball on top of that would be a good idea. The vibration through the ground might attract them or make them mad, or I don't know. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about this. Again, guys, I appreciate you hitting that like button. It matters so much. Just hit it on your way out. I really appreciate that. It helps me so much. And again, guys, keep your head on a swivel and don't be something's dinner.